at the end of the day, there is nothing that you can do just with technology. You, of course, need to do that also with people.
So looking ahead into the next 5 years or so, what do you think is the single biggest digital security threat?
Yeah, I would say the biggest one, according to me, is really to underestimate the risk there. Because, of course, by design, by definition, you don't know what you don't know. And if you basically just underestimate where you should invest, why you should invest, and where the risk is, it's not going to work. So it's really underestimating that part. And what I'm saying there is really, to not to underestimate, you need to understand your technical landscape, where you are good, when you're not good enough, where you need to update, when you need to upgrade, when you need to work, basically, what should be your priorities. And this is something that should be clearly communicated to the board as well, because at the end of the day, they need to have a view on the big picture, on where you want to go, why you want to go there and to get there, and basically how many resources, and indirectly, what kind of budget do you need to get there.
And in that sense, is digital security then a technological or a behavioral challenge?
Yeah, I would say it's both, of course. The thing there is you need to have the right processes in place from a tech standpoint. You of course need to have, I would say, the monitoring in place. You need to have the procedures in place. You need to have a way to detect potential like intrusions or like when something is going basically south. You need to be able to react, to fix things, and basically to restore some of the applications. But at the end of the day, there is nothing that you can do just with technology. You, of course, need to do that also with people. And the first thing that you have to do there is to explain them the why. Why do you need security? Why is it important for them and not only for you, right? As a tech department. So, and I really think that once more, I would say there, the communication and the awareness is really, really, really key. And also the communication, why it's not only a tech thing, right? Security is not only about like updating and patching applications. It's also about basically being secure in everything that we do every day. For example, taking like a picture of a screen with password is not a good idea for obvious reasons, right? But if you don't take time to explain the why and what would be the risk for the company, it's not going to work.
That's a behavioral change. And how do you affect that behavioral change? Any thoughts?
Yeah, it's explaining a lot in a really simple words, in a really simple way. I really think that documenting too much all the policies in like 10,000 pages, it basically doesn't help companies. Sometimes you have to do that because you need to have something on paper, of course, to share with the new employees, with the new basically colleagues. But to some extent, you need to find a good balance between documenting what the rules are versus basically explaining to the people the why they need to look at security. And finding a good balance in itself is not easy because the more you document, the more you are kind of covered from a tech standpoint, right? But the less it's going to be applied because it's going to be simply impossible to read.
Indeed. Okay, so we discussed a few things, different ingredients of digital security. We talked about technology, communication, behavior, but also processes, people. What else is important as an ingredient for digital security?
I would say on my side, the biggest one is really the alignment, because without alignment, there is nothing you can do, right? If you are not aligned with the board and with the different departments on why you need security, where you need security, what kind of resources do you need, and basically what should be the priorities in terms of what to implement when, right? It's not going to work. At the end of the day, everything is linked, right? You need resources, of course, to do security, but you also need them to do support, and you also need them to do ongoing developments. And by the way, you also need them to do R&D. So it's a lot about alignment, being just honest and transparent on what you have on your plate from a technology standpoint and where you basically see security versus the rest.